It's so weird to see it so empty over there now. So we made it back from Baker and Sam's checking over the swather, so we are getting ready to start the second cutting. Oh. The alfalfa isn't quite as tall as it was the last time, and we're going to start in a new pattern. So we are at the very center of the big pivot. We're going to go around the center and then down the edge along the big pin. I have not seen the small pivot since we were out there raking, mowing, and baling. But Sam said it's actually nicer, thicker than the big pivot, and there's not a lot right now under the pivot, so he's just going to weave his way around the drops and the tires, the wheels, pivot wheels, what are they called? Pivot tires? Towers. And we're going to call that good as far as mowing under the pivots, because yeah, it doesn't look like this came in very thick yet. But maybe for the third cutting, so we're starting in a new direction. Still on the big pivot, just going the other way. Early, but it looks like the windrows aren't going to be quite as thick as they were from the first cutting, so it'll be interesting to see how much hay we end up getting from this cutting. And it seems to be going pretty smooth. The tilt is a lot higher than it was before. We had it around 8 or 9, and now it's around 3, which I think is where it's supposed to be. So going and see how it all goes. There's a couple of turkeys running through the field right now. Hopefully they don't have a nest out here. I wonder if they're ever going to get out of the field. It is interesting to me how many birds would rather just run for a long ways than fly. Don't like to fly. It looks like the turkeys don't like to fly. Quail don't like to fly. Oh, there they finally flew. One of them did. They're out of the field. So we're driving down the side-by-side road to open up the little pivot. We have the inner circle of the big pivot done and the entire overhang for the big pivot, and the space between the big pivot and the little pivot. Is there overhang on the little pivot?
Small one.
Small little overhang. Oh, down by the small? Oh, okay. So some little bits on the corners, but we're gonna open the field right now. So this is amazing. It's like somebody came out here and planted some astroturf or something. It's just thick and green and luscious. It is Monday. It's day 2 of swathing. Sam's out there on his own right now. He wanted to get started early while it's cool. Hopefully we can get the rest of both pivots done. So I'm just feeding the animals and doing the stuff around the house, and then this afternoon, probably after lunch, I will probably just go right along just for fun, because it's awesome to sit there and watch the rows and see it change from this beautiful green carpet to these really pretty windrows, or at least I think so. All done mowing? All done mowing. Second cutting, all done mowing. Good morning. It's Thursday. Sam is out raking right now. As you can hear, it's very windy. So we finished mowing on Monday, and it was looking like it was pretty dry already on Tuesday, so we wondered about raking yesterday. But it was a little too windy. We went out last night to try to start raking, and the wind was just blowing the windrows. So it kind of defeats the purpose to put it together if the wind's just going to blow it away and take it all apart again. So we've kind of been watching the humidity and the wind, and yesterday a huge storm rolled through. Luckily it went around us, but it hit Adrian and Nissa pretty good. They had ping pong sized hail, like in Garden Valley and some places around. So there was definitely some weather. Luckily we just got a few sprinkles. So we're gonna try to rake and hope that the wind doesn't blow it away. Sam had talked about raking and baling at the same time, so I would rake and he would just come right behind me with the baler, and that way the wind doesn't have as much of a chance of messing it up. But it seems like the wind always blows out here a little. When you fluff up the hay, it doesn't take very much to get it rolling and blowing away. So we'll see what happens with raking. Sorry, I know it's kind of loud, but one of the things that I love about raking is it starts with these really pretty windrows like this, and then it just takes 2 into 1, and so it kind of, I don't know, it's like spinning or something the wheel, and I don't know because of the sun and the dust how well you're going to be able to see it, so I'll wait until I get up around this corner a little bit. But one of the other things I was going to say is some of the windrows are really thick, and some of them are so thin and sparse that I almost lose where I'm driving because I can't tell if there's any hay on the ground. So you just kind of try to aim between the two and hope that everything stays where it's supposed to. I've noticed I tend to, when I turn around to look behind me, I tend to turn that way. So I have to get everything lined up and straight, and then take my hand off the wheel, and then turn to look so that I'm not accidentally changing the direction that the tractor's going. But here in a second, I'm going to have to slow down for the road, or I feel like I should, because it's pretty bouncy. And then maybe I'll be able to show where sorry, like how it looks. Like there's a really sparse spot, so I don't know why there's just not a lot of meat right there. But I just right now. It's a little bit windy still, but I feel like it's done now. Definitely not the giant gusts that we were having earlier, and I don't think it's probably a 10 to 15 mile an hour wind like it was. And yeah, so for the most part, the hay seems to be staying where we're putting it. I am not yet confident enough in my abilities to turn to do it in third, so I shift into first down here at the bottom of this hill, and then that gives me time to slowly turn around. But I feel like my turn at the top of the pivot is a lot better, which means either it was a lot better or I did something wrong that I don't know about yet. But being that this is my second time mowing by myself, I feel like it's getting better, smoother, and I'm more comfortable with what I'm doing. And there we go. Can maybe do a good job. So now that it's turned around, you have to make sure that the outside of that rake is lined up, so that it's getting all the hay on that windrow, and that one is lined up to get all the hay on the outside of that windrow. And then we just keep going. So we're kind of at the top of the hill. Shift again. And I feel like my shifts are getting better, so I am bonding really well with my little road tractor, and I feel like we are working very well together. It definitely has some little quirks, little issues it needs to get worked out, but like there's something going on with its alternator, but it works, and as long as it keeps working, we're happy. So this is raking. I think it took about 5 hours to rake both pivots last time. I started just a little bit before 8. It's 8:30 now almost. So I feel like it's going pretty quick. I mean, we're 2 towers in on the big pivot, and I think there's 6. Sam still needs to do the corners and the overhangs, and he'll probably do the center because it's just a little bit more technical. But I should be able to do all of the other towers tracks, and then I'll work on the small pivot, and then it'll be ready to bale probably tomorrow, maybe. I don't know if he wants to start later today. The wind definitely dries things out quickly, and when we bought the swather, or when we were looking at different information about different swathers, that was one of the things that people were talking about with the conditioner roller, the way that it crimps the stems. Sorry, I'm shifting. The way that it crimps the stems, you can have like 3-day hay. So cut, rake, and bale within 3 days. And we finished raking on Monday. No, we finished cutting on Monday, and we are raking on Thursday. And really considered raking yesterday, and might have raked more if it hadn't been for the wind. So, like I said, it's kind of pointless to rake your hay and then have it just all blow away. So, I don't know with the sun glare if you can see. This side has some pretty thick hay. This side has some pretty not thick hay. So, I don't know what the difference was this time, but all go together into a bale, hopefully. Alright, well, we're just gonna keep doing more of this, so unless anything exciting happens, I will see you a little bit later. So what I just did is what I'm gonna call a mega roll. And there was like a half of a row. So I took the pass where I went in one direction, and I had taken two windrows and put them into one, which is normal. So like that one right there, but then the one in front of it, I came back and took one windrow and then the little partial windrow and rolled them together into one. So you can see that this one right here is a little bit taller and a little bit bigger than like the ones around it, because it's actually 1.5 rows. So I'm going to call it a mega row, and I just thought it was kind of cool, so I wanted to show it to you. So it's Friday, and I am on my way back to the little pivot to finish raking the hedgerows because I missed one, and also we need to move the pivot so I can rake underneath that. Sam is out here baling, and we've got some beautiful bales in the room right now. So that's exciting.
Sorry, I know it's really hard to understand the audio on this part. Basically, I was just talking about how the bales are not supposed to stand up like that, and I'm not sure what caused it to come out of the accumulator that way. It's probably not a big deal. We'll just push it over when we're picking them up out of the field. And then I also noticed that there was just a little chunk of a bale that I've never seen it do that before. So, and then Sam and I were kind of coming to the road at the same time, so I wasn't sure who was going to get there first. I was going to stop and let him go if it looked like we were going to meet at the same time. There's the little tiny chunk of a bale, and it ended up that the difference in our speeds, he ended up getting to the road before I even got there, so it wasn't a big deal. So there were some problems with the baler yesterday and the accumulator trying to move things too quickly, but it looks like maybe everything's gotten itself worked out. And I don't know why, I just think it's awesome looking out the window and right on the edge of our yard are these big giant bales.
So Sam built me a little hay house out of some of the bales that we pulled out this morning. So I think there's 8 here. We just took 12 to the scales. They weighed an average of 1,690, so almost 1,700 pounds. Sam thinks there's going to be 50 bales off the second cutting. So we'll see what we end up with as we go get the rest of them out of the field. So I'm hanging out in my little hay house that Sam built while I am waiting for him to unload the trailer. This is all of the hay off of the little pivot. I believe there's about 27 bales, plus we brought in these 8 already. So we're up to about 35. Like I said, Sam thinks there's 50. It's kind of where we're at with all of this right now. So including the 8 bales with the hay house, we ended up with 61 bales off the field for the second cutting, and I wish you could smell them. They smell amazing. It's like the best fresh cut grass, only sweeter. Thanks for watching.